Hello, Matt.
Hey,
Nice to meet you today.
Yeah.
I know that you've done some collaboration with Polyhedra, a lot of verification with the messages, with the ZK stuff. Can you tell me a little bit more, like what is current situation on the market, like what do you feed and what is your next plan?
Yeah, sure. So I think, to take a step back, Polyhedra, we work very closely with them. They built what's called a DVN within LayerZero, which is a Decentralized Verifier Network. But obviously their specialty is in the ZK side, right? So they built a ZK-like client that helps to verify transactions that go between any two chains, right, through LayerZero. And so I think a more broader answer and perspective is, LayerZero, we encourage client diversity a lot. And so, when you have any cross-chain transaction, you have to have sort of like these validators or verifier sets that can prove those security of the transactions from chain A to chain B, right? And so Polyhedra is just one of those entities that are doing it. They obviously have their own ZK-like client that's running in the background for LayerZero, but there's also like 30 to 40 other different DVNs within our system. So in terms of security, applications can go ahead and choose the Polyhedra DVN or choose any other set of DVNs to work within their application.
I saw that you already spent a lot of networks, not only EVM, we were also in the kinetics inside the adapters use LayerZero. What is the next networks you're planning to add?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think right now we're currently on like 94 different mainnets. We're on a few.
That's amazing.
It's a lot. We're going to a few non-EVMs in the future. We're already on Aptos. We just launched on Solana around 2 months ago. Non-EVMs take significantly longer. There's a lot more engineering work that has to be done to re-architect the entire protocol into that specific language. But yeah, our goal is, we want to be everywhere. There's obviously a ton of new app chains spinning out every single day. There's a lot of interesting non-EVM sides. So our goal is to pretty much be on all those networks.
On the market right now, a lot of hype about the intents. I'm sure that you're also looking at this. Do you have any plans that you will introduce to the market with the intents?
Intents, in my opinion, sit on top of general messaging. So LayerZero, we're on the messaging side, on the base layer, right? We help transfer any information you want from one smart contract to another across different chains. Intents build upon that, right? The way that I like to think about intents are they're really just like limit orders, right? A user submits a request of like what they want to happen, and some solver on the back end, can go ahead and fulfill that. That model works, but you also need to actually verify that transaction happened somewhere on chain, right? To do that, you need generic messaging to kind of prove and verify, to also help rebalance those solvers and those fillers in the back end. I would say you could build intent architecture on top of LayerZero, but as like a protocol itself, LayerZero is not sort of like building on the intent side.
What do you think about the account abstraction and how are you planning to implement it or use it?
Yeah, so I think it's pretty similar in that sense, right? Like we want to power the infra behind all these, abstractions that are happening, whether it's chain abstraction, wallet abstraction, account abstraction, even like liquidity abstraction, right? Like there's a bunch of these new sort of abstraction models that exist. All of them actually need these messaging protocols like LayerZero to verify what's happening in the background, whether you're trying to bridge, tokens from one chain to another and abstract that, or you're trying to unify, wallet balances across chains. All of that needs to be powered by generic messaging. So again, I think as a protocol level, it's very sufficient already. In terms of the application level, a lot of them can already take advantage of LayerZero.
What do you think? Are we standing right now in front of the door of mass adoption, or we need something else? Like all of us talk about the fragmented liquidity. Right now we talk about unified liquidity. Previously we talked that DeFi is so complex only for the DGens. Right now we talk about the mass adoptions in abstraction way, and also we're waiting some maybe changes in the regulation because we already see ETFs and all of this. So what do you think? Are we staying in front of the door, or we still need more time for this?
It's a good question. I think in terms of exogenous assets, right, more like RWAs, things like that, there might be a little bit more time on the regulatory front. In terms of what we have already in DeFi, there's a lot happening, right? Stablecoins already exist. Tether is making a ton of money. We have USDC. We have a bunch of new stablecoins, a bunch of LSTs. Bitcoin's being heavily adopted by ETFs. And so there's already a lot happening. Obviously, things can always get better on the regulatory front. In terms of LayerZero specifically, because we are a permissionless open framework of how messages can be both verified and executed, you can plug in certain regulatory compliance entities to kind of perform that part within LayerZero, right? So if you want a KYC, AML, enable DVN, you can do that for, specific assets that require KYC functionality. If you want that to be permissionless and you want that, you don't want those features, you can actually do that without them as well. So like we're very flexible on our end, but in terms of like the regulatory front, those are some observations I have.
I hope soon the users, as Sergey mentioned already on the panel, that nobody will know that they use a crypto, but crypto will be everywhere.
Exactly.
Similar as the internet.
Right, exactly. Like right now, LayerZero, we have around like an 80% market share, right? And I think our goal is so that users don't know that they're using LayerZero, but it's using LayerZero, right? Very similar to the internet. When you're using like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, like the end user does not care about like what stack they're built on, right? They don't care about, oh, is this app built on AWS or GCP, or like are they using TCP/IP or UDP/IP, right? Like no one actually cares about that stuff. And same thing with LayerZero. We just want to make sure that every application is built on these core principles that we care about in DeFi, being permissionless, immutable, and censorship resistant. And as that proliferates, and crypto grows larger and larger, our end goal is, no one will talk about LayerZero, it'll just be happening in the background.
Yeah, that's a perfect strategy. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.